Today I want to dive into one of the most important purchases that you'll ever make in your life. Buying a home and making that process as seamless and authentic as possible. According to my friends over at LendingTree, they found in a 2023 survey that 74 to 94% of Americans believe that owning a home is part of establishing the American dream. Meanwhile, the folks over at Yahoo Finance report 78% of Americans say that owning a home is a critical part of writing their own individually tailored and defined American story. Home ownership is also considered a considerable and respected path towards success and building wealth as a tool, which provides financial stability. And finally, according to Bankrate, if you own a home as opposed to renting it, your household wealth on average will be approximately 1,469% higher than those who are lifelong renters. So my friends, the question is, what's the fastest and most efficient way to achieve home ownership if you're in a position to do just that? And my friends, my answer comes in the form of some advice from the National Association of Realtors. The association reports that between 88 and 90% of American home buyers today utilize the services of a real estate agent or a broker to help them navigate this process successfully. And lucky for all of us, today I have the distinctive pleasure and honor of sitting down with my friend Jamie Parker. He's a real estate agent for eXp Realty in Atlanta, and he has a very distinctive way he operates in this field. He believes that being an effective real estate agent is much more than helping clients buy and sell houses. According to Parker, it's important to invest in their personal story in order to truly understand how best to serve them as a realtor or an agent. Parker's been recognized both locally in Atlanta and nationally by appearing on HGTV's House Hunters, just to name a few of his highlighted accomplishments. He also has an inspiring and compelling story of how to handle going through a divorce gracefully and becoming an all-star single dad. And Parker joined me this week to tell me all about it. So, without further delay, I'm Kevin McShann. Let's have this conversation. Jamie, I welcome you to the program, my friend, and I'm super excited to learn about your experience in real estate, my friend. Great to see you, and happy Monday to you.
Happy Monday. It's a beautiful day.
Absolutely. And, well, my friend, I know that you believe that real estate is more than someone just showing you houses or trying to make a sale, my friend. You see, yourself as an agent who generally cares about your clients, my friend. So I'm curious if you could tell me to start a conversation about your real estate philosophy and how you work, buddy.
Yeah, so I mean, when we're thinking about there are many agents that are, I just in general in sales, people I'll say you can smell commission breath. You're looking to go out, make the sale, make the commission breath, and yeah, of course, I want to make the sale, I want to make the commission, but I don't want to do that at the expense of integrity. I don't want to do that at the expense of guiding a client in an incorrect fashion just so I can make a sale. So it's really about maintaining the integrity in the process and really looking after what their needs are. Because after all, everybody has an Uncle Harry that's a real estate agent. Right? We're not rare. Good ones are rare, but real estate agents itself are not rare. So making sure that through the process and through my interactions with my clients that I operate in the utmost integrity, and they can feel, they know that like I'm on their side. My job is to get them what they want. They have a dream, and my job is to facilitate that dream. That's what I'm hired for. I'm hired to facilitate a dream or facilitate change of life circumstances. So change of life could be divorce, could be marriage, could be having a baby, could be death. There are all sorts of things that happen that I need to be that person in the middle, especially in a divorce situation. I will oftentimes have to be the middleman between parties that may not be so amicable towards one another, and make sure that I'm there for both sides and with that. So that is the main thing, is just making sure that I'm really dialed in to what the client needs, because that's what I'm hired for. I'm hired to be that facilitator. I'm hired to make their life easier. And that is my goal. Everything, tell my clients, you should hit the easy button when you work with me, because that's my goal.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know, my friend, that you had a personal experience going through a life transition when you were sitting on the couch and you had to make sort of a decision on where your life was going to go when your wife and you separated, my friend. So tell me about that experience and how it impacted the person you are today.
Sure. So 2020 was a year like no other for me. A lot of people have really interesting 2020. We all remember that COVID was a really big thing for all of 2020 into 2021, where life as we know it kind of shifted. We all had to be quarantined. We all had to do all those things that COVID made us to do. So in June of 2020, my then wife said that she did not want to be married anymore. So we ended up filing for divorce, which I think got finalized that summer. The blessing in disguise is that Georgia has a very short divorce process. So literally, it was 30 days from the time we filed, a little over 30 days from the time we filed to the time it was finalized. So that was a blessing from the standpoint it didn't have to linger on. I have some friends that were not uh, had that copacetic or amicable of the situation, and their divorces have been going on for years, a couple of years now. And other states have different laws on that as well, that you have to be separated for a certain amount of time and yada yada yada. So very blessed that Georgia had very 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 good laws for that. The other thing that happened in 2020, not only did that happen, but my dad died of COVID. Then I had a car accident. Then I had an issue with a rental property with a huge insurance claim. Then I also owned a music store, and that music store I had to fire the manager. Then I had to sell the married house, and I had to buy another house as a single dad. And so I had to be the real estate agent and all of that for the sale of my house, the purchase of my house, and even the purchase of her house. I was the agent for that as well, and all this happened in 4 months. So my whole world turned upside down in 4 months. Even the holidays, when I fired the manager at the music store, that family, I had done 27 years of Christmas, Easter, and Thanksgiving with with the kid's mom. And then when I'd hired their son for, to try to help out. And, that did not end up going well. And I've never talked to that family again. So 27 years went out the window when I fired their son. So here we are. What was I going to do? So I can either lie down and, put my tail between my legs and say life sucks and, this is just, or I could do just the opposite and excel and figure out, okay, these are these things that are happening over here, but I still have responsibility over here. Now I'm a single dad. Now I have these two kids that are living with me. I have to provide. I have clients. I have family. I mean, my dad died of COVID. Now my mom was married to him for 51 years. They got married really young, like 19, 20 years old. She didn't know anything else. Imagine like your entire adult life, you've known staying with this one person, and now you don't have that person anymore. I had to be the guy, be there for my mom, be there for my sister, and transition with the divorce, and be there for my kids. So it really makes you take a step back. And part of this could be, well, why do these things happen to me? Well, these things are happening because God is going to God will oftentimes take your struggles and turn them into victory, and turn them into a story, and turn them into your mess becomes your message. And yes, this was a messy time, but now it's given me a message that, hey, not many people have gone through what I went through in the course of 4 months. Some of them may not go through that much in a lifetime. But yeah, in 4 months I did that, and I still sold 62 houses that year. The last part of the year, I had people calling me. Like I didn't have to pick up the phone. I didn't have to do those things. I'm not recommending any real estate agent to not pick up the phone. Always make your calls. However, I got to that point where I was provided for during that time through either EXP referrals or through past clients calling me, or whatever the case, by whatever happened, I was provided for it. I was taken care of, so that I could focus on what I needed to focus on, was taking care of my kids and taking care of my mom and taking care of all those other things that were on a more personal nature, and still take care of my clients. So allowed me to compartmentalize. So compartmentalizing could be something that, I don't know if you want to call it a skill, but we can't let one part of our life mess with all the other parts of our life. So I could have let the divorce, I could have let my dad dying totally destroy everything else and become focused on that. We have a saying, what you focus on expands. So if I continue to focus on those things and continue to stay hyper focused, not to say you didn't have to deal with them. Yeah, of course I went to therapy. Of course I talked to people, and of course I went through grief counseling, and I did all the things I'm supposed to be doing to continue to move myself forward. But I couldn't stay focused there, because you can't change it. I can't bring my dad back. He's dead. He's gone. I can't bring him back. I miss him, and I still think about him, but what am I going to do? I can't bring him back. You can't fix the divorce that's already happened. And so all of those scenarios, we have to see the blessing in those scenarios. And I had to see the blessing in the light at the end of the tunnel instead of staying in the tunnel. So for anybody who's gone through things, or if you may be listening to this right now and you may be going through a dark time, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Your job is to seek it out. Your job is to be looking for the light instead of staying in the darkness. And that may sound very simplistic, but it can work with the right mindset, the right attitude, and getting the correct kind of help that you need.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jeremy, I'm also curious to ask you about the turning point you say that happened for you as a realtor, and when you realized how you can get more of your time back, my friend, by delegating some of the tasks that you weren't as good at, so that you could go back to prospecting and finding clients, my friend. So tell me the importance of delegation
Yeah, my job as a realtor is to find houses for my clients, help them sell their house, help find prospects for investors. Sitting behind a computer screen doing paperwork and uploading documents to our document system and things like that is not a good use of my time. I can pay somebody to do that. We also say, as a realtor or any kind of business owner, if you're doing $10 an hour work, you need to be giving that to somebody else. So my goal is never to do $10 an hour work. And that could be in all aspects of life. That could be cleaning my house. I'm not saying I have someone come in and clean all the time, but periodically I do because typically you're paying them $10 to $20 an hour to clean your house. I make a lot more than that as a real estate agent or as a business owner. So why would I want to do those things myself all the time? I'm not saying I don't clean my house. Of course I do. But my point is you want to you want to see areas of your life where you can get your time back. Where can I get my time back? Where can I get my time so that I can do the things I need to do that are going to move my family forward, move my business forward? So leveraging can include, I have a transaction coordinator. She does an amazing job. She's been with me, gosh, probably 10 years now. She's incredible. She's amazing. She does anything I need. She does everything from doing my transaction coordination. Once I get a house under contract, she'll do handwritten cards for me. She'll do flyers for me. She'll do, pretty much kind of a jack of all trades. Just whatever I need for her to do, she takes care of. And the great thing, she's not on salary. I just pay her by the hour or by the job. So as I need things, she's right there for me. Also, looking at selling houses all over the state as opposed to in one area. So I'm licensed in the state of Georgia and South Carolina. Well, how do you do that? I'm in Metro Atlanta. How do you sell a house in South Georgia or North Georgia? You leverage. You get other agents to go show the houses. You may pay them, I don't know, $30, $50, $60 a house to go show a house. And it's your client. You maintain the client, you maintain the commission, but you're also being a blessing for them. Just think about it. If they show four houses at $50 an hour, they may have an hour and a half of their time. They just pay $200. I would say that's a pretty good hourly rate just to go open a door, and then they don't have any further responsibility after that. So figuring out how to do those things so that you don't say no to anything. You figure out a way to say yes to everything and leverage those and leverage that out. And then you're a blessing to other people. Think of how many folks do well because I do well. And so can you extend that out? Can you extend out you have you throw a stone in a river, right? And you see ripples that go out from that stone. I want to be the ripple, just like you're being a ripple right now as a podcast host, because you're extending your message out. This is just one little moment in time, but now this is now an evergreen podcast that's out there forever. And now you're all the people that are coming on your show, that creates a ripple effect of goodness and a great message that goes out to everybody. So
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And Jerry, I'm always curious to ask real estate agents about the criteria they use or questions they ask themselves before they agree to work with someone. So what sort of a process or questions do you ask yourself before you agree to work with someone?
if it doesn't look like we're going to be a match, we'll just agree to not work together. Honestly, in 17 years, I don't think I've ever, to be truthful, I don't think I've really ever had to say no to anybody. Fortunately for the majority of the people, I'm able to figure it out. We're able to figure out a way to help them. Yeah, I can't recall a time where I had to fire somebody and not work with them, or go into the appointment they want to work with me and I said no. I think there's always a way to work with somebody and to figure out what their needs are. Now, that's yeah. Have I sold every single listing I've ever gotten? No, I'm not going to lie. It would be, there are times where things don't sell or things expire and they go with a different agent, and that's kind of par for the course. Do I sell probably majority of everything I've ever listed? Yeah, but we don't I can't remember a time where I've just said, okay, you know what, Kevin, I'm just not going to work with you. This is just not a good match between us. Because I think for me, as an agent, we have to sort of be a chameleon a little bit. You have to know how to adapt to your clients, know how to adapt to your situations. And that's also a thing for life as well. You have to know how to adapt to what's going on around you. And again, not let those things define you, but adapt to what's going on around you so you continue to walk forward. If you look at life as a journey, we need to continue to march forward and continue to go in the direction that we're supposed to be going, as opposed to letting ourselves get sidetracked or sidestepped along the way.
Yeah, and Jerry, I'm curious to ask you about how you transitioned to be an all-star single dad. We talked about earlier your transition after your divorce, but what do you think it means to be an all-star single dad? And what piece of advice would you give to others going through the same process?
Yes, well, you know what? These kids did not ask to come into the world. They didn't ask to be here. So my job is to provide a good, safe environment for them, a loving environment. They know they can talk to me about anything. They know that I'm on Team Jesse and Team Jaden. No matter what, they have unconditional love, unconditional support. Do they screw up? Sure. Do I screw up? Sure. Absolutely. I'm going to mess up. Do I say things that I probably shouldn't say to them at times? Sure. We all do. We're human. My job is to provide the best environment, the best opportunities for them so that they can excel. What good is being successful in business if I can't provide for my own kids, if I'm not willing to provide opportunities for my own children to go out and excel and experience the things that they need to experience? So whether that's sending them to a leadership camp, or whether that's sending them to church camp, or whether that's supporting them, like my daughter ended up at a private school for her last 2 years because that was the right decision for her. It was what she needed at that time. Whether it's looking for opportunities for my son for things that he's passionate about or wants to do, I want to be there for those kids. And I do have them full time, and I do have them, they do live with me full time, and we have a great relationship. I also have to learn that I need to give them space. So that's not to say that you're not involved with your kids. You have to be involved. You have to be there. But my kids are older. They're teens. They're older teens. They're junior and one in college. So at this point, I have to realize that they're going to be want to spend more time with their friends, and they're going to want to spend with me. So I have to find those moments where they're open, where they're willing to be with me, where they're willing to do things together. I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of a struggle at this point. I'm really trying to find, especially I want to find those times with my son. He has another year and a half here, find times, some things that I can do meaningful with them. But I also have to realize where he's at. And it's not all about me. We have a great relationship, we have fun, but I realize he has a girlfriend, and he works, and he does all these other things, right? And so, I have to be there as a great support, and not say, "Oh my gosh, man, you got to hang out with me. Why haven't we hung out? Why haven't?" No, he's excited when I get home and he sees me. We have a great. I'll send him a text at school in the morning. "Hey, buddy, just want to let you know that I love you." Let your kids know that you love them. Send them a text. Send them a message. I know it seems weird. Well, why would I send my kid a text? Send them a text. That's how they communicate. Find out how they need to be loved. So as a dad, and as a single dad, you need to make sure you have a great support system in place. And what is that support system? So for me, that support system has looked like church. That support system has looked like family. I'm fortunate that my mom is always there. My sister as well has been a good support. I'm not saying I need them all the time, but at least I know that they're there. And then friends, and then finding friends, as they have friends, those parents can also become part of a village to also help you with your kids and be a good influence on them as well.
Yeah, Jerry, I wanted to ask you about the pursuit of the American dream. Because, according to the Urban Institute, they seem to think that the idea of the whole American dream is sort of slipping out of Americans' frequencies because if they have to pay a mortgage, they have to pay 84% more than they would from a year ago, my friend.
Mhm.
So, in terms of a first-time mortgage, so do you think that the American dream is slipping out of the fingertips of Americans?
I believe that people will always find a way. Yes, are things more expensive? Yeah, you can't argue with figures. You can't argue with where interest rates are. You can't argue with these things. That those things are all very true. So for that first time person or that first time buyer, does your average income have to be higher than it was maybe a couple years ago or 3 years ago? Of course, it does. But also your jobs are also paying more. So it's not always as black and white as it may seem. Well, okay, the prices are up. Yeah. Like in our market, prices are up about 40-50% since 2020. Yeah, they really have gone up. And certain areas are up even higher than that since 2020. So if you bought a house in 2021, 22, 19, I mean, you're sitting on boatloads of money, boatloads of equity in your home. Yes, prices have gone up. Yes, interest rates have gone up. But yeah, what if I told you this month I am extremely busy? And you're like, well, December's not a busy month for real estate. Well, for me, my Decembers have typically been some of my busiest months. I'm oftentimes busier in December than I am in June for whatever reason, historically. People are still moving. People still have life situations. For example, I've got someone moving right now. They have two young kids and they need more space. They want to have a basement. And they may have some older, they may have some family moving in, some parents or aunts and uncles that need to move in as they're getting older so that they can be caretakers for. Those people need to move. It's not, at this time, in their case, it is convenient for them, but how many other people have that type of a situation where they have to move on, where they have to make an adjustment in their life to adjust to their life circumstances that are happening around them? People are still going to need to move. And if they have good jobs, they've maintained their credit, so on and so forth, they're still going to move regardless of what's happening. And historically speaking, interest rates are still at a good mark, historically speaking. I know they're higher than they were during COVID. They're higher. That was an anomaly because a lot of that, I believe, was government subsidized. That was an anomaly. We're not likely to ever see that again. But there are things in the marketplace, like, for example, USDA loans. You can get a zero down. If you don't make a lot of money, you can get a zero down loan. You may have to be a little bit further outside of a metro than they're typically more rural areas. But I just sold one last year, maybe 30 miles from downtown Atlanta, 35 miles from downtown Atlanta, and zero down payment. And their subsidized loans, where the government actually helps to subsidize that loan in order to help populate more what they consider rural areas. And that was zero down, and those interest rates are still really low. I just closed one of those not too long ago at a 4.6% rate. Builders are offering promotional rates as well. One of the major national builders offers a 2.9, what they call a 2-1 buy down, 2.99% first year, 3.99% second year, 4.99% moving forward. I have someone that's closing on a house tomorrow taking advantage of that program. They don't make $300,000 a year. They make a good income, but they're able to take advantage of that. So you have to look, your agent should be able to tell you what those programs are and be knowledgeable about those programs in order to help steer you into the correct scenario for your life. So yes, are prices up? Sure. Is the American dream becoming out of reach for more people? Maybe perhaps for some, but for many people, oftentimes in life, when you want to get something, you can find a way to get. what you want. And ultimately, long term, think about renting. You pay $2,000 or $3,000 a month for rent. That's 24 to $36,000 a year. But what does that look like over 5 years? How much money have you just spent versus buying a home? Versus even if you spent a little bit more buying a home, now you have equity in that home. Now your home is going up in value. We're still at a shortage of inventory. We still have more people that want to buy than there are that want to sell. It's gotten a little bit more balanced, but still, we're still at an overall shortage because of the lack of homes being built during COVID. So you want to think about what that simple supply and demand equation. At the end of the day, Kevin, supply and demand is always going to win out. And there will be people that want to buy homes always because people always need a place to live.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jerry, when we talk about medium home prices for first-time buyers, the folks over at NBC News and the Business Insider say that the affordability for first-time home buyers is up about 63% in terms of not being affordable across America. So, what do you think is the key to bringing down the price of first-time home buyers or starter homes so that more people can enter the marketplace? What are your thoughts there?
Very simply, more homes have to be built. I mean, when I alluded to it in the what we just spoke about a minute ago, it's a supply and demand equation. So if you have more supply, then and your supply outpaces your demand, then what's going to happen to prices? They're going to go down. But if you don't have enough supply and you have a higher demand than you do supply, then prices will continue to increase and continue to be where they are. It's just like any other thing. That's how our economy is built. It's very much on a supply and demand equation. So the answer is to increase the amount of supply for these homes and let the market work. Let the marketplace work. Let capitalism work. Let that work in however it needs to work. And then people also need to go and create opportunity for themselves if they're not where they want to be in their lives. There's so many programs out there. I mean, look, you could go on YouTube, you could go listen to your podcast, you could go listen to so many things to help get your life better if you're not where you want to be in your life. So I would say, first it falls down to us as individuals. What are you going to do as an individual to get to where you want to be? And two, what can we do to facilitate having more supply in the market and having the right types of supply? But, as we've had a lot of inflation. Land is more expensive. Building materials are more expensive. Eggs are up 71. I think I read the figure, a couple of days ago. Eggs are up 71% over like the last 2 years for a thing of eggs. I mean, that's crazy. It's gone up that much. So we have other parts where the media will focus on housing. Yes, has housing gone up? Sure. But there are so many other parts of our economy that have also gone up. And we need to also think about what do we need to do on those other parts of economy so that people have more disposable income. If your food prices are up, if your gas prices are up, all that affects also the affordability of how much more income is available, and also what we call debt to income ratios, which is what people qualify for loans with. If all those other things are so much more expensive, then that affects those things as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jerry, what do you think is the key to maintaining professional integrity as a real estate agent? What are your thoughts there?
It is really about my clients. It is about helping them achieve their dreams and achieve the things that they want to achieve and that they want to do. And also them knowing that I'm on their side. I'm available to them. I don't have a cutoff time of, okay, you can't reach me after 7 o'clock. I don't do any of that. I am paid to be an advisor. I'm paid. If I'm up, I'm going to answer their text. If I'm available, I'm going to communicate with them. They know I don't want to say instantaneous, but pretty darn close to instantaneous response when they reach out to me. We all have plenty of dead times throughout our day, whether it's you shopping at Target, or whether it's uh, getting pumping gas, or whatever the case might be. We have dead times throughout the day. How do we use those dead times? How do we use those times between appointments? How do we use those things? I always am doing something to use those times to communicate with clients, communicate, to do a search, do things. How can I maximize that use of time? So when it talks about integrity with my clients, they know that I'm always there for them, that I'm always going to be communicative with them, that they're not going to get, it's not going to be 2 days before they hear from me. That if they send me a text, they're going to get a quick response. And if I don't know the answer yet, then I'll say, hey, look, let me do some research on this, and I'll get back with you. So they have an expectation of, hey, he heard what I said, and this is going to be the process to get that answer. If it's not something that I know right away. So working on that, them knowing that I'm on their side, I'm in their corner, and I'm going to do what's in their best interest no matter what.
Yeah, absolutely. And my friend, I know that you were recently featured as one of the top agents in Top Agent magazine, as well as being spotlighted and shout out in Atlanta. My friend is one of the top real estate producers in the city. My friend, so tell me, what have these honors meant to you, and how have you used it to sort of expand your outreach? Because referrals in business, especially as a real estate agent, are everything, aren't they?
Yes, absolutely. Referrals are the lifeblood of your business. In fact, we have a listing getting pictures tomorrow from a referral from one of my past clients. So, those things, when you're going on an appointment, when you're talking to people, I don't want to say you don't want to, there's a difference between, hey, this is my shout outs versus being arrogant, right? You gotta find where that balance is between having confidence and arrogance, right? So when you go out onto an appointment, you let the people know, hey, when you work with me, you're going to get a predictable result. And here's the proof. Here's the social proof of those results. You can look here. You can look here. You can look here. You can look here. So using that social proof to help continue to further your business, and then also not letting it get to your head. I don't go around and tell every person, oh, did you see me at Top Agent Magazine? Or did you see, I mean, you may mention it from time to time, but it's not like every conversation, hey, look at me, 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 look at me. Nobody likes to have somebody, we all know people that you get in a conversation with them and the entire conversation is all about them all the time. No matter when you talk with them, it's always about them, right? No one wants that. So recognizing that there's a time and a place to let people know that that's what it is, and let other people talk to you about that. You may be at an event, you may be with somebody, let other people tell them about you or brag upon you or edify you. Not always be that one that look at me, look at me, look at me. So use it as a feather in your cap. Use it. Obviously, I'm going to put it out there on social media. I'm going to put it out there for people to consume it. But I also don't want to be every conversation. Hey, did you see me on TV? Did you see me in this article? You can let them know when the timing is right. So it's really knowing how to let people know and making sure you're letting them know in the appropriate circumstance. So it means I love it. I love the recognition. However, it cannot be all about that. It has to be ultimately, again, at the end of the day, as you're talking to people, you still got to be a real person, and you still got to operate in integrity with your clients as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And my friend, I know like you were featured last year on House Hunters, my friend. So tell me about that experience and what you got from it, my friend.
Oh, it was so much fun being on national TV. I got to be on 2 different episodes of House Hunters last year, and it would just really seeing how that whole process works, and even how organic the process is. Uh, and again, being able to share that with other people, being able to share that. Uh, think about my clients. They have now an evergreen episode on House Hunters. In fact, one of those episodes is going to be aired again I saw on HGTV. I know they'll be aired again another couple of times in January. That content is evergreen, and they're going to always be able to see themselves. A lot of times I'll have people reach out to me, send me a text message, send me on Facebook, hey, I just saw you on TV. Oh, you're on TV right now. It's very cool to be able to see that. It's great to show your family, your kids, or whatever. I'm not going to lie. Have I had anybody reach out to me? I saw you on TV. Will you be my real estate agent? That hasn't happened. However, it's great branding and great for recognition of having done. I would call it a peak life experience. I mean, how many people have been on national TV? It's a peak, one of those life experiences that you're always going to go back to and say, hey, I was on national TV, in 2023. And how does that happen? You put yourself out there and you try to figure out a way when you have an opportunity, how do you take advantage of the opportunity? And I asked how to do it and had someone met the right person to tell me how to do it. And now, hey, I'll put it out there. If you want to be on House Hunters, I have the connection. You can reach out to me, and you want to buy a house in the Metro Atlanta area, we can definitely help you. And you want to be on House Hunters, I have the connections to get you on there. They're actively looking for people again right now to film in the Atlanta area.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, my brother, when he first moved down to Missouri, was on House Hunters, and I made a cameo on his episode as well, my friend, and I know that the production schedule is a commitment, isn't it?
Oh yes. It's definitely a commitment. For the client, I think it was 5 days, and for me, it's 3 days. So you definitely have to commit to the actual shooting schedule.
Yeah, absolutely. And my friend, I know that congratulations are in order, my friend, because you recently wrote and released your first book called 21 Days to Surrender, my friend. So I'm wondering if you could tell me about the book and why you decided to write it.
Sure. So through a failed dating, through a failed dating relationship, I had ended up going into grief counseling, and through the grief counseling process, I would write journals, and I was really digging down deep into the spiritual realm and studying the Bible and studying the scriptures out. And what does true surrender really mean? One of my elders at church had really challenged me that I wasn't surrendered in my life. And I was surrendered in certain areas of my life, but not surrendered in total. And what did that really look at? So through a journey, the grief counseling process is 8 weeks. So through that 8 week journey, I would journal, and I would spend, literally sometimes 2 hours a day just really thinking about things and meditating on things. And at first, I'm not going to lie, at first I was trying to save that relationship with the girl, right? At first, that was my initial motivation. But then it just became a different motivation. It became, wow, I'm really growing through this process, and I'm really seeing a change in myself. And then my grief counselor said, you know what, you need to write a book. You need to put all this in a book, and you need to put it out there so you can help other people through your journey. So that journey included that 2020 that we talked about earlier in the podcast. That journey included that. So being able to take what I'd written and put it in a book format, and then take that out and allow other people to experience that peace that passes understanding. We're often looking for it. We often don't know how to find it or what that looks like. And so when you seek that out, this is just a resource and a vehicle that I use to help me to get there. And I'm still not there. I may have written the book, but I'm still on a journey too. Different things happen every day in our lives, right? So we're all still on a journey, but we can go back and look at where we've been and use where we've been to help us to where we are now, and to help us to grow and continue to move forward. So that's why I wrote the book. I was encouraged. I never thought I would be an author. That was never in my wheelhouse. But let your mess become your message. All of this messes now became my message to be able to help other people and put myself out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's one of the reasons I wanted to start this podcast, to continue the conversation, right?
That's correct.
Absolutely. My friend, I'm selfishly going to ask you this question because, as you know, I have a disability, and, unless you need or have a need for accessible housing and you want to live independently, there's an even bigger shortage of accessible housing for people with disabilities. So what do you think is the key to constructing more houses for people like me to live independently? What are your thoughts there?
There are actually some initiatives happening right now in certain areas to create ADA accessible developments. So that is one thing that I've recently heard about, some developments that are happening in the Metro Atlanta area, and I'm sure in other spots as well. So the key is, one, raising awareness, but also two, being able to maybe have builders have an option, like just a regular builder. Hey, they offer options for ADA they can modify their plans to create ADA. So what does that mean? I actually had a builder maybe 3 years ago or 4 years ago that actually modified their plans and allowed, and it wasn't a custom builder. It wasn't like $1 million home. It was just a regular normal house, normal priced house. But they ended up, she's has one leg that's amputated, and uh, they were able to make the doors wider for when she does need to use the wheelchair and things like that. So they modified the whole house for her to all be ADA compliant, so she could get in the wheelchair. And it was a ranch house, of course, so she didn't have any kind of steps or anything to deal with like that. So that was one thing that we've been able to find for clients. So I think as an agent, we need to also look for those things. But as far as ADA housing, I think one, builders being offering options for that, and also, more developments. There may be tax incentives being offered by counties and jurisdictions for developments like that and that kind of thing. So maybe having little areas that are like little hotbeds for people with disabilities, so that they can move in and live a what I would call a more normal lifestyle, and live independently, what you're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jeremy, my final question for you, buddy, has to do with legacy and how you want your professional and personal legacy to be defined, my friend.
My legacy is, what good did I do in the world? I mean, it's great to make a lot of money, and it's great to do all that stuff. And you've heard the expression, money doesn't buy happiness. And no matter how successful you are, that's not the end all be all. What really is the end all be all is, what kind of memories did you make with your family? What kind of memories did you make with your friends? And what kind of legacy are you leaving them? That when we had an exercise recently in a class where we actually wrote our obituary, like when we die, and what do we want people to say about us, and what, if we wrote it in third person, what would we write about ourselves? And you can use that to guide and direct what you want to do in the vision. So my legacy is, I used to be a school teacher. That's part of my legacy. I impacted kids' lives. I still want to impact kids' lives. I still want to use what I have to do good in the world, you know, whether it's donating toys, or whether it's using my musical talents, or whether it's want to use what I've been blessed with to go make a difference in the world. So the legacy I want to leave for my children is, like, dad didn't lie down. Dad was out there. Dad went out there, and he provided a good life for us. He provided us opportunities, and he made a difference in the world. Where when people look and they think about my dad, they think about the difference that he made in their lives. Just like my dad made a difference in the lives of all the refugees that came into our area for 20 years. He was recognized by the governor and recognized for all the good humanitarian work that he did to help others. When you have to find where is that passion for you? What is that work that's going to be meaningful to you, so that you can leave your footprint in the world. So when you're not here anymore, Jamie did this for me, or Kevin did this for me. When I talked to Kevin, that was a turning point in my life. I want to be that. I want to be that light shiner for other people. that makes a difference. And regardless, whether it's houses, whether it's reading the book, whether it's playing music, whether it's, whatever it is, whatever talents you've been blessed with, use those talents to make the world a better place.
Yeah, absolutely. And my friend, finally, tell me if people want to get connected with you. What's the best way they can do that?
Yeah, so I mean, you could go to my website, rockinagent.com, ROCKINAGENT.com. You can find me on all the socials, Jamie Parker Realtor on Instagram, Rockin' Agent on Facebook. Of course, you could also reach me on my cell phone number, 404-483-7816. Yes, I actually do pick up the phone. Yes, I actually do respond to text messages. So I would love for you to reach out if anybody has any questions regarding real estate, regarding investing, or life in general. I've had a very unique journey, and I want to be a blessing, and I want to be a light for anybody who may not be in that spot, who may be going through something. I would love to just be a resource and be helpful to anybody going through something.
Well, my friend, I have to tell you that your spirit and wanting to give back is truly inspirational, my friend. It's been a real honor for me to get to know you in the short time that we've had a chance to get to know each other, my friend. And I want to wish you all the best in your current and future endeavors. And I want to thank you for engaging in conversation with me. It's most appreciated.
Absolutely. I appreciate the opportunity, Kevin. I look forward to you getting close to your 1,000 podcasts. Let's do it, man.